Let's talk about a modern day mystery. Have you ever wondered about that friend who's on social media, but they never, ever post? I mean, no updates, no photos, nothing at all. Today, we're going to dig into the psychology behind that silence. And trust me, the reasons are way more fascinating than you might think. Right? You're just scrolling through your feed and it hits you. Some people are just missing in action. They've got a profile, you're friends with them, but their page is like a ghost town. It really makes you wonder, where did they all go and what's going on in their head? So, our first instinct is to jump to conclusions, isn't it? We think, oh, they must be boring, or maybe they're antisocial, or they just don't have anything interesting to share. But here's the thing, the reality is so much deeper. Their silence isn't some accident. It's a very conscious psychological choice. It's a deliberate decision. And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of it. For these quiet folks, that silence isn't a void. Nope. It's a statement. It's a space that's filled with intention, with purpose, and honestly, a totally different way of looking at the world. So let's unpack what that meaning really is. It turns out that quiet on social media isn't just one thing. Psychologically, we can actually break down people who don't post into four pretty distinct profiles, and each one tells a really unique story about why they choose to stay silent. First up, let's meet the privacy protector. Now, for this person, freedom is everything. They see a social media profile not as a fun, creative outlet, but more like a chain, a permanent record that just pins them down. To them, the digital world is just a bunch of emotional noise they'd much rather tune out. So their whole philosophy is that life should be fluid, flexible. And their main goal is to protect their own peace. They are actively trying to avoid what experts call socially comparative moments. You know that feeling? That little spiral of comparison and envy that can hit you the second you post something? Yeah, they want none of that. And this just sums them up perfectly. For the privacy protector, this isn't about being secretive or hiding something. It's about protecting the freedom to just be, the freedom to change your mind, to grow, and to just exist without feeling like there's a constant audience tracking your every single move. All right, next up, we have our second type, the presence purist. I bet you know someone like this. These are the people who truly believe that the best, most beautiful moments in life don't need to be recorded to matter. They just have this calm confidence, this inner knowledge that their experiences are totally valid without needing a single like or comment. Their philosophy is pretty simple. Real happiness doesn't live inside a screen. So their goal isn't to build this perfect digital gallery for other people to scroll through. Nope. It's to actually live their life in the present moment. They might snap a photo, sure, but it's for them, for the memory, not for the feed. And this is basically their mantra. The presence purist just gets that the most profound, most important personal growth happens away from the spotlight. They don't feel the need to broadcast their journey. They're too busy living it. And now for our third profile, the internal validator. This person is playing a completely different game. Their identity isn't tied up in their Instagram grid or their bio. They value real, deep authenticity over a polished appearance, and they've built this incredible inner world that's way more interesting than any social media post could ever be. What drives them is this philosophy of living by their own principles, not chasing after everyone else's approval. So their goal isn't to get feedback from the outside world. Instead, they feel truly seen and understood through their own self-knowledge. They really don't need an audience to tell them who they are. And that's the key right there. Their confidence isn't shaky, it's not built on a foundation of likes and shares, it comes from a much deeper place, from within. That deep understanding of who they are is all the validation they'll ever need. Okay, so our final type might be the most surprising one of all, the sensitive observer. For this person, the digital world isn't just a bit much, it's total sensory overload. Social media feels like a gigantic, crowded room where everyone is shouting at once. And this isn't just them being dramatic. It's often because they have a highly sensitive nervous system. What's so wild is how their brain is wired differently. See, while most of us get a little dopamine hit from a notification, for the sensitive observer, it's just overstimulation. It's draining. So their natural response is to pull back, to choose quiet, not because they're upset, but just to come back to themselves and get away from the noise.
This is such an important way to look at it. We so often see someone who's alone and we think they must be lonely. But for the sensitive observer, that solitude is absolutely essential. It's not loneliness at all. It's an act of self-connection, a way to recharge their batteries.
So, okay, we've got these four really distinct profiles: the protector, the purist, the validator, the observer. But what's the one thing that ties them all together? Well, it all boils down to a kind of deeper honesty. In a world that so often demands joy on command, that pressure to always be happy and performing online, choosing silence is actually a radical act of honesty. It isn't about being antisocial. It's about being honest with yourself about what you really need. And, that quiet space is very often exactly where the most important private growth happens. So now, let's turn the camera around. After hearing about these profiles, you might be starting to see yourself, or maybe some of your quiet friends, in a totally new light. So, which one fits you? Do you resonate with that freedom-seeking privacy protector, or the in-the-moment presence purist? Maybe the self-assured internal validator? Or does the calm-seeking sensitive observer sound more like you? Just figuring out your own tendency can be a huge first step in understanding your whole relationship with the digital world. And let's end with this thought. No matter which type you are, or even if you're a mix of all of them, just remember that you don't need a lot of noise to feel alive. Whether you post every single day or you never post at all, maybe the real challenge is just to trust the quiet spaces in your own life enough to really let yourself grow inside them.